Hello everybody, welcome to our workshop and thank you for being patient. Today we'll be speaking about automating vulnerability detection and validation in your private cloud. I am Adrian Furtuna. I've been a penetration tester for about 10 years before starting Pentest-Tools as a company. Then turned myself into a founder and a CEO. But I still like to get my hands dirty from time to time, so as you'll see today. And with me I have Dragos, my colleague, and I let him tell a few words about himself.
Hi all, my name is Dragos. I've joined Pentest-Tools 6 years ago as a software developer, and for the last 2 years I'm now a product manager. Happy to see you all here.
So what we will be speaking about today, we will give you a few words about Pentest-Tools, then we will dive into the live demonstration, and at the end we'll have a Q&A session. However, if during this time you have any questions, we are happy to take some of them. For the ones of you who don't know us, we are a cybersecurity company based in Bucharest, Romania. We are a team of about 60 plus people, cybersecurity professionals and enthusiasts. We're a bootstrapped company, profitable, started 8 years ago in 2017. And we're happy to say that we're trusted by more than 2,000 security teams across the world in more than 100 countries. And we do a lot of scans. Last year we did 6 million scans through our platform, one scan every 5 seconds. And we like to say that it is our mission to help our customers defend proactively against cyber attacks by showing them what are their vulnerabilities in web applications, network infrastructures, and cloud. This is part of our team. We're happy to attend various security conferences. This is a Dev Camp, probably you've heard of it. It's one of the largest security conferences in Southeastern Europe. And we were there with most of our team last year. And Pentest-Tools as a product, so it's a SaaS product, software as a service, for performing vulnerability assessments and penetration testing. So everything runs from the cloud, and we have more than 20 built-in tools which you can access via a web browser to perform reconnaissance activities, web vulnerability assessment, infrastructure vulnerability assessment, and exploitation. So we have the full chain. The beautiful part is that all these tools are working together and produce findings that can be easily aggregated into reports. So you can see it as a consolidation tool that covers multiple functionalities. We also have automation. You can work in teams integrated with various other tools. We build Pentest-Tools for the security teams, MSPs, and consultants. So these are our main focus customers. And three main use cases that you will see with Pentest-Tools. So the first one is human-led penetration testing. So we don't say that we perform fully automated penetration testing. We don't believe in such thing. But if there is a human who wants to do penetration testing, with our product you can enhance a lot its activity and doing it much faster and more effectively. Then you can do vulnerability assessments on web applications, APIs, network infrastructure, and cloud. And also our customers use it for security compliance like SOC 2, ISO 27001, and so on. So that was the short introduction. Going to the demo. So what we have prepared today, it's a use case very similar to what our customers are using in their own environments. So we will discuss the situation of this fictional company called Synaptic Care. It's a company from the healthcare sector, and they provide telemedicine and virtual healthcare services. So basically, what they do, they have a product by which patients can talk to their doctors in a secure manner. And as you probably imagine, this type of company handles a lot of patient confidential information, which needs to be very well secured. And besides this, they also need to be compliant with various standards like HIPAA and SOC 2. So for the SOC 2 compliance, it's required to demonstrate ongoing vulnerability assessments and monitoring for the systems that are handling sensitive data. And this company has chosen Pentest-Tools to implement their internal vulnerability assessment program. Here is the network diagram that we will be playing with today. So this is part of the infrastructure of that company. They are hosting their servers in an AWS virtual private cloud. And in order to access these services, the users need to enter via VPN tunnel into this cloud environment. And these three services are, let's suppose they are in the scope of the SOC 2 compliance. And the first one, 151, it's a web application used for the support personnel to, it's a customer support portal to help patients who have technical difficulties accessing the platform and for ticketing and so on. This one is 119. It's a caching server containing running Redis. This is being used for session management and to make this application run faster. And the third one is a Windows server, which they are using for file sharing for the internal environment. And they are sharing medical report templates and patient reviews. So yeah, these are the three servers that we will be assessing today, and we need to perform a vulnerability assessment on them to see what is there and how we can continuously protect them. Now I will pass the microphone to my colleague Dragos and to show you the setup.
Let's see how this infrastructure looks like in our AWS environment. If we go here, welcome, we can see that we have here those three machines Adrian described earlier and the VPN gateway as the fourth machine. And first thing first, we will want to add these assets in our Pentest-Tools dashboard in order to scan them. To do this, I will start by creating a new access key. To do this, I'll go to Security Credentials, go to Access Key and create a new one. I will choose Third-Party Service, confirm, hit Next, and just create access key. So, okay, we have an access key and a secret access key, and we will use this to import our assets in Pentest-Tools. So now we can go in Pentest-Tools dashboard. This is the Pentest-Tools dashboard. Let's log in. So we are in the dashboard, but it's pretty empty now because we don't have any assets. If we go here to the Assets tab, we can see no assets are added, but we can import them from AWS because this is what we want. And for this, I will click on Import. But first, I need to create the integration. And this is where I need those access key and the secret key. For this one, I will give it a descriptive name. For the region, I will choose London because this is where that infrastructure is deployed. And I will just copy and paste the access key and the secret key we've just created. Now that we have this integration enabled, we can use it to import the assets. And because we are talking about a virtual private cloud, and because those assets Adrian described here are not available, not reachable from the internet, we are interested in the private IPs of these machines. So I'll click private and hit import. And now we have all these assets in the Pentest-Tools dashboard. But there is a missing piece. And the missing piece is the connection between this AWS infrastructure and the Pentest-Tools cloud capabilities. So in order to achieve this, we need first to deploy an agent, a Pentest-Tools agent, which doesn't scan by itself the assets in our AWS private cloud, but instead it just creates an outbound connection, a tunnel to our cloud infrastructure for scanning. So let's do this right now. Let's deploy this agent together. And to do this, I will go back to AWS. Let's go to our instances and deploy a new one. I will click on Launch Instances. I will name it Pentest-Tools.com agent. And for the image, I will look for our custom image, which is already in the AWS marketplace. So it should appear here. Here it is. Hit select, subscribe, and we can go with the defaults here. I will just use a key which already exists for this demo. Maybe one thing to mention here is the fact that we are allowing secure shell traffic to this agent we've just deployed, and we will use this in a minute. Keep everything else on default and click on launch. Give it a minute. Now that our agent is deployed, we can open it to get its private IP, which in our case is this one. I will just copy it, but if we go back to the diagram, we can see that we first need this communication, this VPN connection between our laptop and the AWS private cloud. So I will go to the terminal and I will open first that VPN connection. Now that we have the connection, let's try to connect to that agent through secure shell. So we connected to the agent, but it says it's not configured yet. And it asks us for an UUID, and to get one, we first need to create a VPN profile. To do this, I will go to Settings in Pentest-Tools, VPN profiles, and here I will create a new one. So the role of this VPN profile is to create a link between this working workspace, Synaptic Care, and the agent we've just deployed. So I will click Add, again use a descriptive name, and I attached it to the workspaces we are working in. And as you can see, this says offline here. But if we click on it in order to get its ID, I can copy it and use it in the terminal. And now the VPN agent should start. And if we go back to the platform, we can see that label mentioned now the connection is established. So we have the communication between our workspace and the infrastructure we want to scan. So now we have everything we need to start scanning these assets, and I will let Adrian to show you how we can do this with Pentest-Tools.
Okay, so what Dragos showed you was just how to connect Pentest-Tools with the private AWS subnet.
Does it work with Azure as well?
Sorry?
Azure as well?
We can also do, yeah, because we have this agent also as a Docker image, and you can run it wherever you want. Okay, so now we have these four hosts, including the VPN gateway, which is not necessarily interesting at this moment. So we have imported them in Pentest-Tools. Now we want to see what is the initial attack surface. So what services are there running, and to see if there is anything wrong. To do that, so we are in the assets section. We select all of them, and as I said, in Pentest-Tools we have a lot of tools for vulnerability scanning and penetration testing. These are split into these four categories. So we have tools for reconnaissance, mainly doing port scanning, subdomain enumeration, URL fuzzing, WAF detection, and so on. We also have a category of tools for network or infrastructure vulnerability scanning. This includes the network scanner, password auditor, cloud scanner, Kubernetes, and so on. We also have a category of tools for web application vulnerability testing, which is another subject on its own, but we won't touch it today. And we also have some tools for exploitation in order to go in depth more into the penetration testing side. But today we will limit the use case for network vulnerability assessment, and we will choose the network scanner. You can see this one as a tool similar to Qualys, Nessus, Rapid7, and so on. It has multiple scanning modes. There are multiple engines here that we can run. Version-based, our own custom engine, Nuclei, and OpenVAS. We will go with the deep mode, which has the most comprehensive type of assessment, and launch start scan. As Dragos was very kind to mention, I forgot that I initially wanted to actually do the port scanning. So we will go back to the assets, and we want to see the open ports and services. So for that, we wanted actually to do the port scanning, which also can be customized in various ways. We will do the deep one, which looks for more than 3,000 open ports, TCP and UDP. We will start the default one.
Can you do a custom range of ports?
Yeah. So we will talk about the network scanning after that. About port scanning, so we just enter one of them. And this port scanner is actually an Nmap, which we have integrated in Pentest-Tools. And it has detected port 2022 and port 6379, which is the Redis one, which I talked to you about. And we can enter each host to see what ports are open, but this would be pretty difficult. So that's why we have created this functionality called attack surface, where we aggregated the results from port scanning from all the hosts, and you can see them in a single view. And here are the three interesting servers. And you can see this one, this is the Redis server. It has SSH and Redis service. Then this is the web application. You see SSH, and this is an HTTP port actually, which Nmap failed to detect as HTTP. But with the following tools, we will see that it's actually a web application here. And the other server, we see that it's a Windows server. And it has a lot of Windows specific ports, including RDP, SMB, and so on. So this is the initial attack surface, and as a system administrator, let's say you can see if there is anything wrong with some ports that should not be open. So this is the initial attack surface visualization. Now we can go further to see what vulnerabilities are there. So for that, we need to do we go to the network vulnerability scanner, which I have already started. So another beautiful thing in Pentest-Tools is that you can start scans and leave them running and get back to them whenever you want. And you can also be notified if they are finished, when they are finished. So the network scanner will go to this one, for instance, 119. So what we can see here. So there are some scan logs, which you can see details about what the scanner is doing. But it has already started to produce some vulnerabilities. And we can see one of them. So the Redis service is vulnerable to this CVE from 2022. This is a remote code execution, which is unauthenticated. And we can see that the scanner has managed to run this payload, which is a Lua script. And it has managed to run the Linux ID command and also receive the output showing that the Redis server is running as root, and anybody who exploits this vulnerability can gain root access on the machine. And if we want to go deeper in the scenario to go more like a penetration test, then we can also validate this with Sniper. Sniper is one of our exploitation tools, which actually gains remote access to the machine and extracts various artifacts from that machine, like, I don't know, the list of usernames and their password hashes, some sensitive files, and so on. And you can use that as proof that the service is really vulnerable, and to patch it as urgently as possible. And then going to the details section, there is a detailed description of the vulnerability, of the risk, recommendation, references, and so on. Another interesting part is that this finding has a confirmed tag, meaning that the tool is positive 100% that the vulnerability is not a false positive, as opposed to another finding which is this one, with which we rated as high risk. So this one is produced with the version-based engine. What it does, it actually sees what the version of the service is running and which CVEs are affecting this service. However, these version-based vulnerabilities, we give them as unconfirmed because you probably know that many of them are not directly exploitable, and there may be a risk or there may not be a risk over there. Even though the service has this CVE, it's not always exploitable, or an attacker not always has to do something with it. So this scan is running on the caching server. We won't wait for it to finish because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. But in order to show you the vulnerabilities from the other servers, we have pre-scanned them on a different workspace. So in Pentest-Tools, you can organize your assets in various workspaces to group them. And okay. So these are the finished scans here. 119, we saw it already. And then now let's go to the, let's go first to the, no, this one. Let's go to the web application, 151. And we see another critical vulnerability here. Who of you remembers of this CVE this year, from this year? So about 2 months ago, the internet took fire because of this Next.js middleware bypass vulnerability. As you know, Next.js is a web development framework for applications written with React. It's the framework is developed by Vercel, and this was an interesting vulnerability which allows basically attackers to bypass any middleware validation that the application is running, including authentication and other access checks. So as an evidence, this is also a module, a custom module written by us. You can see that the request and response. So in order to detect this vulnerability, the scanner must send this custom HTTP header, xmiddleware sub request, with this format, which we won't go into right now. But in the response, it detects something different than the original request, basically an admin dashboard. And this is the way it detects, by inserting this header, it detects if the response is different than the one without the header. Let me show you what is actually there. So, as I said, in this server, there is the support center used by the support people to help patients. And this is an application with an authentication. We don't know the username and password. However, using this vulnerability, it says that if we add this header, we might find something interesting. So let's add this header to the request that we do to the application. For that, I have added an extension to Firefox where I can specify, let's say, an URL and a header name. This is the header name. I hope you can see it from the back. And this is the header value. So it will add this header to each request. So now, if we go to /, we can see that using this header, the authentication has been bypassed, and an attacker could access the authenticated content. So what I showed you here is actually a manual double-check validation of what the tool has already showed us. Good, so this is going back to the diagram. So I showed you what was the problem with the Redis server. I showed you what was the problem with the application. And for the Windows server, so it's a patched machine, but for some reason somebody has configured it with guest access for the SMB share, and the tool has detected that there are some Windows shares exposed to the network without any authentication. SMB signing not required, shares enumeration, and so on. Some others lower risk. Okay, so these were the initial vulnerabilities that we managed to detect on these 3 servers. And I was saying initially that you can use Pentest-Tools to provide SOC reports for SOC 2 compliance. And all the vulnerabilities that detected from each of the scans, so you don't have to necessarily enter each scan individually, they are being aggregated into this findings tab, where you can find them for all the servers. We can order by the risk level. You can actually change the verified status. You can also change the risk level if you consider that this is not critical, this is actually a medium, or I don't know, change status. You can say, for instance, this is a false positive, or you can ignore this vulnerability if you don't believe that it's interesting. And what you can do, so you can select all of them and generate a report. Okay, so this is how a report looks like. From all these findings. So basically, it's an aggregated scan report from these 3 scans, and it contains the vulnerabilities for each of the targets. Yeah, so this can be downloaded, passed to your customers, to your auditors, and so on. Now let's go back. So we showed you how to perform an initial assessment. Now we want to show you how to make this periodic, so you don't have to enter manually into the platform every day and do your scans. And I'll let Dragos continue from here.
So as SOC 2 requires, we need to configure an ongoing monitoring on these assets. So in Pentest-Tools, we can do this using what we call scheduled scans. To configure them, we can just select all these assets, going again to the tool we want, in this case network scanner. But instead of just starting the scans right now, I can schedule them. And let's say we want to scan them every month, starting this weekend, this Saturday, at 4 AM. And I will click schedule. And here we should find 3 scans which are configured to scan at on 7th of June. But we can also configure a notification. So instead of manually checking every month each of the scans and look through findings and compare with a previous scan, we can put Pentest-Tools to do this for us. And to do this, I will go and create a new notification for this workspace where we are working in. And I will click on Add, and let's name it New Vulnerability Alert. And for the trigger, we can see that there are multiple options we can choose from. But for this demo, we are interested in seeing if we have a new vulnerability in a new scan from a previous one. So I will configure the trigger to be diff from previous scan, and the result can be sent in different parts. For this demo, I will use a custom email address, but notice the fact that we can also send the result in Slack, Teams, Discord, and other integrations we have. So I will enter the email. And click Save. So now we have the integration configured, the notification configured, and the scheduled scans are enabled. But let's assume I am a software developer, and my task for today is to update the back office app. So if we refer to the diagram again, we are talking about this back office application. And I want to update it to a new version. And I will do exactly this right now by going to a new terminal. Okay, and we can see we have a Docker running here. And I will just simulate the deployment by shutting down this Docker and open a new one. Okay, so now let's assume this new version of the app is updated, and we have the scheduled scans configured, but to save some time, I will simulate that scheduled scan as running now, and I will just select the target we updated, choose again network scanner, but I will go with a custom configuration this time. And instead of using all these engines, I will only go with nuclei. And I will also specify the port to reduce the time of running. I can now start the scan. And we can wait to see what this scan will result in. The scan finds some findings, but this one we already discussed about it. So this is a finding we know about. But we can see that we also have a high vulnerability finding, which seems to, it discovered the fact that in the new updated version of the application, there is an exposed .nev file, which shouldn't be available. And here we can see the request our tool made, the response, but also the content of the file, of the .nev file. And we have juicy data here, for example, credentials for a DB connection, a stripe key, which might lead to client data or financial data, but also AWS credentials, which also might be used by an attacker to gain access to those assets. So a lot of material here for an attacker. And this one is a new vulnerability from the previous scan. So we should wait for this scan to complete. And after that, we should get the email we configured based on the notification. We can see that we've got a new email, and the title of the email is based on the name we give to that notification. So new vulnerability alert comes from there. This is the target we scanned and the workspace we are working in. And here we can notice the fact that based on the condition we put, we found that new vulnerability which we already discussed about in the scan results. So basically we shouldn't wait here to see the results, but instead just check if there is a new email and analyze that. And we also get the scan result here as an attachment, so you don't need to go into the platform each time to analyze details about that vulnerability.
We showed you on a real VPC, on a real infrastructure, how you could scan that with Pentest-Tools. This was the entire setup. You saw that it's pretty quick and pretty easy. And everything you can find it aggregated here in the platform. So we consider Pentest-Tools as a consolidation tool, because if you were to do this with different tools, you would need different vendors for infrastructure scanning, for web application scanning, for reporting, and so on. But you can find all of them embedded in Pentest-Tools. Thank you very much for attending.